Screaming, step it up.
We are out on the road with Barnstable Patrol Officer Spencer Jackson to see what he sees on a typical summer night. Tonight, we talk about substance abuse issues that make up the majority of police activity, issues that include the ongoing opioid crisis.
Yeah, things were quiet with overdoses over the winter. Recently, we've had an overdose death 2 weeks ago in Hyannis. And then a kid that grew up here overdosed and died in New Bedford. There's been a couple around. It seems to be kind of picking up a bit. Over the spring, it was quiet. We didn't go to as many overdose calls as we used to. Last summer, we were doing them all the time, like almost every shift, couple of shifts. And now, some of the ones we're getting are fatals.
The reason for the uptick in fatal overdoses, Jackson says, is fentanyl, a synthetic opioid that is much more potent than heroin. Drug users typically don't know when heroin is mixed with or replaced by the stronger and deadlier drug.
When I started on the job 5-6 years ago, you'd see a lot of heroin, and now all of the stuff that we're testing, the opiates that we're testing, are all fentanyl. When people use it, they can get a lot of fentanyl and overdose and die, or get nothing. It's so inconsistent, that's what makes it so dangerous. You take a quantity of that, you break it up, and you add your cut, and they mix it up, and you take a small quantity of that out. You don't know if it's a lot of fentanyl, no fentanyl, or anything in between. So you get very inconsistent amounts.
All it takes to fall into addiction is just one try.
There's no turning the clock back after you make the decision. I've talked to a lot of addicts that regret for their entire life ever making the first move of, shooting heroin for the first time, and their life it's never the same after that. They're always chasing that high. It's never the same. And they can be clean for a bit, but some of these people will always go back. So it's a really kind of like alters your mental status once you do that first shot.
While the battle against the opioid crisis continues on the streets, alcohol remains the top problem substance in town.
Going to C Street for an intoxicated male. We deal with this guy all the time. Heavy alcoholic.
Jackson says nearly 60% of the calls he responds to on a nightly basis are alcohol-related.
It's huge.
RP stated he's in his apartment now, but was stumbling.
The amount
around
of
the parking lot
intoxicated
earlier.
person calls we go on.
IP.
Obviously I work eve shift, but it's pretty ridiculous. Several times a shift, every day. People just drinking to an absurd level and causing enough problems that police get called to resolve that.
And it's not just a problem in the busy summer months.
We have our homeless population, which is a large population, and most of them have drug or alcohol issues, or both, mental health issues. So they do the same thing year-round, abuse drugs and alcohol, especially the alcohol abuse to a ridiculous level all the time. Obviously, normal people drink more in the summer, but which can cause problems, and obviously our population booms, so summer's busy with that.
A Barnstable County study released in 2015 indicates 8% of Cape Cod's population is dependent on alcohol, compared to 3% dependent on opioids.
The amount of people that suffer from alcoholism and how difficult it is, or how difficult it makes people's lives, because it ruins their lives and they just can't get away from it. We see these same people that we place in protective custody hundreds of times in their life. It's all the time. Same people getting PC'd all the time, protective custody all the time, because they get inebriated and...
Do you feel like they're getting the help they need?
If they want it. I think, the help is definitely there. Services are there. But you can't make the horse drink water,
Yeah.
So
True.
if they want it, the help is there. But a lot of them don't want it, or deny the issue, or
Right.
just think it's a part of their life and wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know.
Spencer Jackson is a Barnstable Police Patrol officer. This is Community Impact on Cape Media News.
Screaming, step it up.